Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing Boros Burn once again. It's kind of the boomer version as you would with Boros Charm and Lightning Helix, as I think we all know that the Boros enchantment deck is obviously very good. I don't think I need to tell you that it is if you've played Best of One Ladder at all and you've ran into the deck. So we're going to try the burn list that I was playing previously in the past that I kind of said at the time if I wanted to climb the Mythic, this is what I'd be playing. But the format has warped around the card Sheltered by Ghost. I could pull that up here real quick. But the entire format has warped around this card, especially for the aggro decks. And they are now playing these as 4-ofs. And this is a very hard card for us to beat in general. Because with burn, you do pretty well at getting them low enough that a burn spell or two off the top is just good enough. And you don't really care if that creature on the ground hits you a couple of times before you find that burn spell. But right now, the problem is if we don't have an answer and then they just shelter the ghost of the creature on the ground, they'll outgain that life. So what do we have to do? Well, we play a lot of burn spells. Some can only really target face or like Planeswalkers, which is our Boros Charm and our Boltwave. Each damage takes 3. Each opponent takes 3 damage. Boros Charm makes our opponent or Planeswalker take 4 damage, which is very good. So we have a lot of damage there to kind of go upstairs. But our Burst Lightning, our Lightning Helixes, and our Lightning Strikes, we have to be a little bit more cautious with and only really invest them if we're putting them to really close to lethal. Or we have to hold it if our opponent is playing the enchantment deck and we think a Shelter by Ghost might be coming. Then we have to use these spells to remove that. Outside of that, we are just playing kind of your standard red creatures with a couple Monstrous Rages cases to grind out the game, because oftentimes we only need a couple more burn spells. So we'll get rid of the Swiftspear with a case just to turn us online and then just draw burn and burn and burn. And then we have the Higher Claw, Monastery Swiftspear, Emberheart Challenger, Slickshot Show-Off as kind of our 12 creatures we are playing in this deck, because we want to use these as kind of a chip damage type thing where we hit them with it as much as we can and then have burn finish the job afterward. Other than that, we're just going to go ahead and hop into the games, see how they go. I hope you all enjoyed them, and let's go play. Get our first draw and get our second draw. This hand's actually bonkers if we hit another land, so sure. Sometimes you just got to play to it. That's the thing, right? Is like, when you have a hand that is like, hey, this hand pretty much guarantees wins if I hit lands, or at least feels like it should. Like, oftentimes in Best of One, you just have to take that. All right, a third land's even technically better. Attack. We're not going to pump the Higher Claw. We're just going to suspend a Slick Shot. I don't know why. I just say suspend, but I mean plot. It just goes into exile zone where I can cast it for free. So I kind of say it wrong. Sure. We got mono blue. Mono blue Hydrogen. These players are still real. Avail 2 draw card. They left both on top. We know they have a bounce spell. It's pretty clear that they have one. It might have multiple even. All right, well, update. When I said draw 1 land, I meant 3 lands in a row. We're hitting like an unreasonable percentage right now. I could just flood the board with like creatures and then force them to figure it out. Here's this. Here's this. Again, just literally put as many creatures on the board as I can, because they are just mono blue. So they have bounce effects, but like using 3 spells to make me pick up everything, it's like, sure, I guess. Sure. Swiftspear. And then I'll just have 2-ish burn spells to work with on the following turn. Combat. Technically, the best card to bounce here, if you don't have a counter spell, is the Higher Claw, because it does the most damage and does not have haste. And our opponent knows that, so good pickup, opponent. We definitely attack here, though. We'll see what happens, though. What is the plan, opponent? just want to play a hottie gen and call it a day. That makes sense to me. The other thing with burn is you have to play it a little bit differently than you would play just aggro. You just need to use your creatures as chip damage and use your spells as like the closer in terms of like your actual burn spells. But sure. So both of our spells are castable, but I can make... I think it's Higher Claw, play this tapped, and then hold both of these. Because then I can burst lightning for 4 combat. I've also ripped 5 lands, or 4 lands in a row off of a 1 land keep. Which is kind of absurd, but... what am I going to do, you know? Here. Sure. Uh-huh. Boros Charm. 4 damage to the dome. So you can use 12 potentially. Obviously, there's probably a counter spell here if I had to guess, but oh, sure. I guess. Why we also go for the 4 damage route, even though it technically does more than giving like Slickshot. I guess giving Slickshot double strike does 1 extra point of damage, right? Because Slickshot ends up doing 6 there, where Boros Charm does 4 and Slickshot would deal 1 and a negate. Okay, my bad, brother. Didn't realize you had it like that. Another land. Sure. Let us just... honestly, we can make it really hard on him. Let's just plot this. Each opponent takes 3. Attack. Holy cow. You're real fun at parties, huh? Like, I don't even want to play the Simic version. I'm playing just mono blue. What in the world? I mean, I guess it's a budget deck. They have Jace and Jace sleeves. This person knows what they're about. Sure. And honestly, that's tippable. But what is the play here, though? Alright, well. Alright, so they have another crab. Interesting. Artillerian Terror, okay. So they have to have another bounce spell, right? We only need to get within range, right? I mean, if they have another crab, they have another crab. But they definitely, I feel like, would have cast it. Maybe they wouldn't have. I don't know. What is this? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What do we have? In turn. All right, there's no other crab. Sure. What do we have here? It's kind of cool to see like a fully budget deck, which is interesting. Sure. I don't... like one of the things where it's like I can live at 1 and win, you know? A land from them. This could be this town ain't big enough, picking up the crab and replaying crab. mean, I have 5 damage here. Here. What do we have? I could bring up this land, but it just doesn't make much sense to me. Combat. Declare these as stackers. Game 1. Sure. They only surveil here, so pump that and the game's done. Wow. I mean, to be fair, honestly, for all commons and uncommons, it's a pretty good deck. It's just like most lists I've seen are always like Simic up to Beanstalk, and they're not. But I would assume they're playing 12 creatures, and Hadigen happens to be one of them. And then they play the big, like, 5-mana spell that draws for each island you control, which would be pretty good in that deck, too. So, unaware, but, yeah, we take a game. We'll move on. Okay, well, I just kept a 1-lander, and it paid off. But now I'm on the play, so now we'll probably miss. 2 back-to-back 1-landers. Will we draw the land this time? Who knows? But we'll see. 2 higher claws is also pretty hard. Okay. This game's not real sometimes. Plot. Attack. The thing with higher claw that's good is like having the second higher claw come down later. And it still does damage. We don't necessarily need it to attack as long as we have one of these in play, right? Now, temporary lockdown's a card that we have to play around, right? Definitely a card I have to play around. Higher Claw. Slickshot. Boltwave. Might as well chunk in as much as I can. Get them below 10 here? Yeah. And then we just have like pretty good aggro creatures to play post this turn. Assuming the lockdown's coming. Never mind. This is actually the second time I've seen a dinosaur deck. I'm genuinely curious where it came from. 1, 2, 3, 4. They can zombify that. I mean, I could just get absolutely slammed next turn, huh? I actually didn't even really do the math to see if this would be lethal. So -2, they go to 7. We Helix for 3. They take 5. Oh, no, yeah. So they would live at 2, regardless. All right, zombify. Oh, yeah. That's not gonna. It's not gonna do it. Commune with Evil does also seem like a card that could just be instant speed. Look at the top 4 cards of your library, put one of them in your hand, put the rest in your graveyard, you gain 3 life. Like, it's like, okay. Like, it's pretty good. I just don't know if it's good enough as like a sorcery speed spell. Here. Combat. Over here. And that'll do it. One of the things about playing aggro is like, I don't want to say this win was entirely free, right? But it just makes it incredibly, like, this is so much more likely to happen whenever your opponent stumbles on what their plan was. So we saw a right? Say they have one of these in their hand, right? They could have brought this back. It has haste. They could have hit me, played Natali, played a Carnosaur, like so much, because it was going to hit me for 7. So they were going to hit me for 7 and look at everything, right? But they had 2 caverns. So they couldn't cast us. And it's just like one of the things that like, okay, well, you stumbled for 1 turn. I guess I'll win. And it's just like, that's why aggro decks are so good in the best of 1 meta for sure. But all right, on to the next one. Land go. We have 1 creature. They have one creature. We definitely play ours and we attack. Now, could we have shot this down? Maybe. But we'll see what happens post this turn. We're shimmying right now. Oh, they're gonna play it. They're gonna shoot it with burst lightning, aren't they? No. No. Just gonna have to double burst lightning. He's down, ain't I? Ooh. I guess we gotta gun these down with some burst lightnings. You could go Swiftspear Rage next turn. The real issue is taking 1 damage for free every turn. Uh-huh. Here. We're in. We're in. We're gonna see a land manifold mouse. Ooh. Oh, they lightning strike me. Because the problem is if I don't do this, Monstrous Rage is dead, right? I'll take my 3 here. I can deal quite a bit of damage here. This manifold mouse is so dangerous. We have to do that. Go to 9. Our mana is definitely a troublesome area. We have 6 damage now. So bursts are... I guess I don't even know what spell off the top does it. Well, not that one. 2. Sure. Alright. Next, in turn. Who will draw better? Ooh. I can't even do that. Sure. Uh-huh. Yeah. You don't have to be patient now, brother. Just barrel the spells. I don't have counter magic. I'm not waiting for them to actually just cast their spell. I don't know what they're doing. I guess we just play this in case we draw land. I'd much rather be a little bit more progressive. And I've said it already where like we are kind of more of a burn deck. We want to chip in as much as we can while we can. Maybe. Okay. If we wanted to play around the Elspeth Smite, we could have just Monstrous Rage prior to that, but we didn't. So combat. Here. Yeah. What? We're just gonna make it as hard as we can. Sure. We have blue-white control, which is technically a better matchup for us when it comes to actually like breaking stuff down and getting through what we need to. Here's a slick shot. 3 steps ahead could obviously counter it. All right, sweet. Here. Let's use these map tokens against them. Or against ourselves, I don't know. Okay. My bad. I guess I'll take 2 mana, draw 2. I don't know. Oh, it's a little frustrating, but you know, it is what it is. Huh. Combat. Here. We're gonna go back to plotting the slick shot, make it a little bit awful for him. We'll end turn. Sure. Well, Gyre, like, kind of a controversial card for sure. I play it in my list just because of Cavern of Souls being so good that I don't like being kind of super vulnerable to not playing it, but well, now we are committing. Here's a slick shot. Here's an Emberheart Challenger. Here is a Boltwave. I have 7 damage on the board, so there's no reason to commit anymore. I just want to lightning strike them here. Sure. My prowess goes over this. Or should I invest in Monstrous Rage? Well, no, because I still have 9 no matter how they block, right? Upstairs. No more lies could come off the top here now. Oh, yeah, definitely on top for sure. And now my creatures are both alive, and now they're down to 3. Hornlock Whale is an interesting card, and that is going to do it. They have to just hope I have nothing. And I'll just show them right away. I have the Monstrous Rage. Yep, we get there. Very cool. Taking it to control. We were on the play, so it's definitely a little bit harder for them to recover, but we'll take it. We'll take the one. I didn't hit record. No. All right, we're fine now. We didn't go too far in the game. I was just talking about their name where they had 7 sevens in lucky 7s. And I was thinking about a card from the past, Tractophobia? The one where you have 13 damage or whatever. There's a lot of cards with that actually have a lot of, like, that card art in general has a lot of 13s in it, which is super sweet. We're going to attack. We're going to lose our slick shot here. Sure. I think I'm just double map activation here. Just maybe we find a white source. Another basic mountain. I know it's a little bit weird with our case, but that's also good. Force them to interact. Beanstalk. Okay. Okay. This is definitely coming in. And because of an Elspeth Smite, I guess this. I don't know. The creature on the ground's not going to be able to block it. I just realized we have them at 2 already. When did that happen? Okay. I think we just have way better options of getting rid of that. Like, we don't have a white land. We have way better cards. Oh, that does not feel good. When you don't find your overlord, huh? That's a little tough. Okay, I'm going to do it this way. I'm not going to play 2 creatures and hit them for Xaxes. That's the toxic side wanted me to so bad. But yeah, we'll move on. Very sweet. Is this land bad or is hand bad? Oh no. Mulligan, I guess. Keep. I know this isn't necessarily castable, but we'll keep just because, like, this is an out if we need it. Oh, we're dead. I mean, trust me, but I ain't doing much better. just send 3 upstairs, you know? Just a trademark trade, if you would. But we'll see what happens. I feel like we're just going to get absolutely ran here. Don't have, like, any burn spells to remove these off the board. Don't have any creature to do any tricks. I mean, I have this, but Burst Lightning just ruins our whole day. Not really looking to block, I think. With this and Double Strike, that's 8. Witchstalker, good. Not playable here. Sure. 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 I have no other choice. This is just a full gamble whether or not I'm dead. Which I would assume I am. At 11, 4 mana, potentially 3 mana. They already have 4 damage on the board. I would assume we are super dead. There is a pause here from them, but I assume this is just counting and double checking to make sure. No. Okay. Oh, wow. A land of any kind means they lose unless it's a tap land. Oh, man. That's so tough, dude. I have a Helix, which only puts me at 5, 6, 7. So 5, 4, 1. That doesn't do anything. Yeah, I don't think I have an out, right? 4 damage to target player. Yeah. We can do something kind of funny here and die this way. That's tough. 1 land, we win the game there. Because we get to Boltwave them and then Helix them or Boros Charm them and do it. But unfortunately, we did not find it. So we'll move on. All right, everyone, here we are. We're going to talk about it just a little bit. I don't think there's a whole lot to explain with a deck like this overall. The main thing here is that I'm not entirely sure if you're not playing Shelter by Ghost, that playing white is worth it anymore. This is the burn list I had been playing in the past. And the reason why I say Shelter by Ghost is so good is because the problem that I've ran into a little bit playing this deck is you kind of always just have to hold your burn spell as soon as you see you're playing against the Boros like enchantment deck. Because if you don't, they'll just Shelter by Ghost and the creature will just grow in size and then you can't stop it. And then they just gain too much life that you can't burn them out of the game. And that's kind of a hard thing to accomplish when, like, don't get me wrong, like the one game I didn't even realize we had the domain player that low, which, by the way, I didn't say it in that match, but that's one of the things that, like, when I'm playing a slow deck and I run into domain, I'm like, how do you exist in the format? And then I just played this against them, and I was like, this proves my point. Like, you're at 3, and you didn't do anything. You, like, sunfalled me and lost. It's such a weird thing with domain. In best of 1, best of 3, very, very good deck. I'm fully aware of that. But in best of 1, it feels like it has to try to encompass so much that, like, I just don't think it's set up to beat the best decks in the format in best of 1. And, like, you kind of only run into it when it's able to beat the deck that you're playing, it feels like, because you run into it so seldomly that when you do finally run into it, you're playing like an odd deck. It's just how I felt about it. I didn't really talk about it too much, but, like, I thought immediately after match, just like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, whenever I lose playing like Control or something, this is why. Like, I don't understand how this deck exists, at least in our format. But yeah, the life gain that a lot of decks are having just makes this deck in general really hard to play, just because their burn spells just don't reach as high. And kind of a Higher Claw is really good, and Swiftspear is really good, and Slickshot's good, but the meta is also super, super curved in order to kind of stomp these decks out. For example, like I played Mono Black yesterday, so I thought a great idea was to play the opposite deck today, the deck that I was bullying all day yesterday. I was like, what if I just play the opposite, you know? What if I get in there? With that said, I'm going to call it there. I don't have a whole lot more to say about it. I'd probably just pivot this to just straight up mono red, cut these, maybe play even a little bit more cases, because those grindy matchups, those matchups where like you're going to get hit with the discard spells over and over again, cases can definitely grind you out of that because you don't have cards in hand. Therefore, you'll unlock it and draw extra cards a turn. But with that said, that's all for me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.